Shalom, Yasharala. That's your brother Dawada coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and I rule well. And salutation and much love for Yakim pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So we'll jump into two of these little quick articles real fast, which is showing of the times that we're in. All right, the relationship status between the whore and the beast. All right, not only, we'll read into two different articles, but this one here, is dealing with their allies abroad. But hey, the next article even goes into the fact of, your own, how they would say, own in-house domestic quarrels. All right. So this one here real quick says NATO member state weighs in on proxy war against Russia. It says, military that has claimed NATO, a military bloc in which Zagreb is a member, is waging a proxy war against Moscow and Ukraine. He also dismissed sanctions against Moscow as nonsense, adding that he does not want to be an American slave. And, this is pretty much the same sentiment that we have here, as the men of the Lord. Most people think that we're so-called pro-Russian. We're on the Russian side. We're this, and that. No, it's just reality, man. Looking at calling a spade a spade. Now, here you go. You have their own allies calling these things out, telling you that it's a proxy war that's going on, you'd have to be really, how they say, lost in the sauce and its Babylonian juice to deny that, man. All right, because damn near everybody can see this proxy war, man. All right, you set up your own, you go back to the very beginning of these things and you overthrew the Ukrainian government, all right, and you set up your own puppets over there, and now you're using them, all right, as your, your how you say, your chess piece, all right, to wage war against Russia, all right. So you don't have to have a direct conflict, all right. So every time America goes into battle, they always come up as in people's mind as the savior. Oh shit, we got to get drugged back out into war again. We don't want war. We don't want war, but we're being drugged into it. We have to go save the world. So they always have to have that narrative set up. It's never the fact of, oh, America's just on the offensive. They just going over there and invading every damn body, It says, speaking to Croatian reporters in the city of Volker on Sunday, Milanovic said, among other things, Washington and NATO are waging a proxy war against Russia through Ukraine, as quoted by media outlet Istra 24. All right. And, again, that's a Western narrative that they won't even touch on. They're saying that they have to go and aid these people, as being the so-called police of the world, humanitarian aids. And you have this brutal dictator in Vladimir Putin that's causing all this turmoil, when in reality it's the other way around. All right. And you're bringing down the global economic, the global economy, more or less to say, man. But we know this is all, working together towards, bringing in their new world order. So he went on to argue that the plan cannot be removed. The plan cannot be to remove Putin, which that's what they're saying. All right. The plan cannot be the plan cannot be sanctions, adding that such punitive measures are nonsense. We will not achieve anything with them. All right. The only thing that they're achieving is destroying their own economies. It says they go from war to war. What shall I be, an American slave? Croatian president asked rhetorically. All right. And again, you look at the history of America. All right. They damn near been at war. Let's just say, I can't remember the exact numbers, but let's say they've been, an established country as the United States of America, as for 240 something years. All right. Out of those 240 some odd years, let's just say how about 220 some of those years, they've been at war. All right. Now you can go and you can double check the numbers and everything, but it's something, akin to that. Damn near 80% of their lifespan, they've been at war. All right. It says, speaking to news channel France 24 on Saturday. Wait, I didn't skip something. Going back up. Milanovic voiced his frustrations on the U.S.-led military bloc policies in the same interview, which he tore into Croatian Prime Minister Andrej Plenovic, one of the latest in the Ukraine-related remarks. In fact, we're not going to read the rest of it, but nevertheless, he goes into, supporting this Ukrainian situation. But then now they're starting to see, the actual effects of it all, right? So let's go into this other article real quick. All right, and that's, dealing with, American allies, right? It says, impeach war criminal Biden over Ukraine. It says, Jeffrey Young, who is running for governor in the U.S. state of Kentucky, has accused Joe Biden of committing war crimes in Ukraine and other countries, saying that the president should be impeached for carrying out an illegal proxy struggle against Russia in the former Soviet Republic. All right, and again, this is not a secret or a unknown narrative. It's only the narrative or a narrative you can't speak about, coming from the Western media, all right, the Western side. You're not going to see this on CNN, Fox News, and things like that. They're not going to tell you that it's a proxy war that's going on over there, that America is basically waging war and using NATO to back up its plundering, all right, and trying to hijack Russia. This is what America does. They go around and steal in country. We'll read it in the scriptures, but this is what they do. Neither keepeth at home. He's a proud man, neither keepeth at home. All right, gathers unto him all people. This is what Esau's MO is to do. All right, removing people from their borders and things like that, plundering the whole earth. All right, this is the man of sin, the son of perdition. All right, the wicked that is ruling the earth. And you're seeing him making his moves right about now, but most people don't want to call it out. Most people will flip. This is how the devil works. He's like the scriptures say, he transformed himself into an angel of light. Most of you Americans out here that's we'll speak about these types of things that turn around on us and say that, oh, we're pro-Russians, we're Russian bots, we're Russian sympathizers and things like that. Hey, they're under this sauce, man. They're just blinded. Sometimes you got to call a spade a spade. Sometimes, hey, like, let's just say you got a homie or something like that, and y'all out and whatever. And let's say, he drunk, he get into an argument with somebody, and then a fight break out, and then the next day, man, that motherfucker tried me. He shouldn't have did this. Like, nah, bruh. You was talking that shit. You was drunk and you was talking that shit. And hey, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Hey, some people, they can't take that. They can't take the so-called truth. They have to have somebody that's always on their side pushing their same narrative. And this is what Babylon the Great does, man. This is what Esau does, man. If you look at all these different scenarios, I spoke about this over the weekend at camp. There's a saying I seen. It was like an image or something like that about going into Jake, about how, Jake has been the biggest victim on the face of the earth, according to Daniel chapter 9, verse 12, I believe it is, but we've been the biggest victims on the face of the earth by all the atrocities that has been done unto us, slavery and all these different things. All right. And the biggest proponent of all those things, or the most villain on the face of the earth, dropping nuclear bombs on people, waging war on people, destabilizing countries, overthrowing governments and all these different things, has been a so-called white man, right? But then when you look at it, they'll have you think that we're the worst people on the face of the earth and that he's the biggest saint on the earth. It was like, well, wait a minute. He's the biggest, perpetrator on the earth of violence, evil, and wickedness. Just look at the history. You go back the last 100, 200 years. That's all you have to look at. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention the last 1,000 years, but you can just go back the last 100 years, Then you go and look at what happened to Jake over the last couple 100 years, man, and you'll see. But yet and still, hey, when you look at the narrative, oh, you can't trust black people. Black people love stealing. Black people love violence. Black people love this and that. Hey, but who's had 2 world wars under their belt? Who's been going around and stealing countries in the last 20 years alone, man? All right, who's been invading countries and stealing their resources over the last 20 some odd years, man? They ain't been so-called black people, all right? It says Jeffrey Young, who is running for governor in the U.S. state of Kentucky, has accused Joe Biden of committing war crimes in Ukraine and other countries, saying that the president should be impeached for carrying out an illegal proxy struggle against Russia and the former Soviet republic. I think Joe Biden should be impeached immediately for war crimes in Ukraine, Yemen, Syria, Iraq, and etc. And of course, he wasn't into all these scenarios. But as it continues on, it says, Young said in a Twitter post, also for continuing the illegal proxy war against Russia and Ukraine. All U.S. presidents since 1945 equal war criminals, including Trump, he added. And really, you can go back to day one of America, man. The so-called founding fathers. And even before that, all right, because, people kind of get these things confused. America has been around for a while, but the United States of America, as you know, is only like 200 something years old. Then you had like 13 colonies and all that stuff before that, which wasn't, what you know of as the United States of America today. But hell, you can go back to those times, when they was coming over here settling the land and everything else like that. They use all these so-called nice words and everything, or, they said that they came over here looking for freedoms and everything else like that. We could say that same narrative, that same story. There was a group of people that got tired of being oppressed by the people they was living up under. They moved out in search of a new land. All right, found them a new land, settled that land, and they established their own country. And you would think about who did that. And you're like, oh, America, the founding fathers. No, nigga, ISIS. When ISIS tried doing that and making them a caliphate, it was a terrorist group trying to take over some shit, kill some people, and take the land. Oh, wait a minute, that's exactly what what happened to the Native Americans at the hands of these Europeans, aren't these so-called white folks? So it's the same thing that they wind up doing. But see, you got things like Mount Rushmore with the faces of all these goddamn terrorists. They own your dollar bills and everything else like that. But see, you can't speak out about those types of things that's going on. But then when it's somebody else of a different nation, oh, all of a sudden they're the worst people on the face of the earth. Well, you tell me what was the difference of what, the two groups wind up doing. The only difference I see is the location and the time frame in which they did it. All right. It says young, and really speaking of the time frame, really America ain't stopped with that. They still doing that to the same day. Look at Taiwan, look at Ukraine. All right, all these things are still continuing on to the same very day. It says young, an MIT trained economist who has worked as an environmental engineer in the state government, made waves last year after winning the Democratic Party nomination for Kentucky District 6 congressional seat. He vowed during the campaign to help prevent nuclear war with Russia by pursuing reasonable peace plan with Moscow. He also called Kiev a Nazi puppet government and said the CIA should be eliminated because of the worst terrorist organization in the world today. Now, granted, hey, these are Americans, all right, they're speaking on these things, these are folks that's seeing straight through what they wind up doing. All right, now, if you really know about what the hell the CIA does, the difference between the CIA and the FBI, one of them is domestic, the other one is international. Like, what the hell are you doing with these international? In fact, we want to just jump in some scriptures here, but you can see that they're being called out by their own people, right? Let's just go into it because we was just speaking about international and domestic type stuff, right? Because the CIA, they do things international, like regime change, overthrowing governments and things like that, plotting coups, right? Habakkuk 2 and 5, it says, yea, also because he transgresses by wine, all right, because he, his different philosophies and doctrines and so-called treaties that he signs with these people, these peace deals and everything else like that. All right. Yeah. Also, because, when we're reading that first article, they're saying, look, man, yeah, we vowed to be an ally with you to help you out with these certain things. But you done drug us so far into the damn mud. And guess what? We ain't been benefiting from none of these things, man. All right. Y'all the one that's been benefiting from all these things. We hadn't benefited once from any of these things, man. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, why should we continue on down this here path, man? We're only stand to lose in this situation. All right. It says, yea, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man and neither keepeth at home. All right. And just like we were reading in the articles about how, hey, all they want to do is create proxy wars and go and invade other countries, man. All right. You look at, America, like I said, from the very beginning, all the way up until this same very time. It's the same thing that's going on, man. All right. Now you have two different people accusing America of the same thing. You have one, the international partners, two, domestic allies. So, hey, and neither one of these people are so-called claiming to be how they would call us Black Hebrew Israelites. None of these people are claiming to be Israelites. None of these people are claiming to be reading this out of the scriptures and everything. But look, man, hey, they telling the truth here, man. They calling a spade. They just calling the wicked, man. All right. We just identifying them according to the scriptures. All right. It says, yea, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man and neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire is held, and his death cannot be satisfied, but gathers unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. All right. And the reason they heap all these people into him is for what? To rule over top of them, man. All right. You see how far that NATO expansion is gone. And not just, you can look at NATO as far as how wide the American empire is, but then you have all these other little groups and treaties and things like that America has, like you could say the UN. All right. Because they really, the UN is pretty much ran by America, pretty much the Edomites. You know what I'm saying? Now, you do have people in there, they still Edomites too, the Russians. But when you get into the people who have permanent, I forgot what the name of the position is, but it's like a permanent seat that they have to be able to veto certain things. So, in instance, in the UN, America and their Western ideology with their people, they can pretty much do everything carte blanche to where nobody can stop them. But then you have Russia that has that veto power. So they can be like, all right, well, we want to do all these different things. We're going to all band together. We got everybody to vote that we're going to kick Russia up out of this. If Russia can veto that at any point in time, so it's kind of like a little balance there. But the rest of it is all basically America, man. All right, or their allies. Some of these other, like the IMF and all these other, conglomerates and everything else like that, man. All right, you have all these different nations in bed with America, man. All right, the horde that's riding upon the beast, man. All right, and then how do I say intertwined with some of these different pacts that they have. All right. It says, shall they not take up a parable against him and a taunted proverb against him and say, woe to him that increaseth and that which is not his? How long to him that ladeth himself with thick clay? So now going into this, that, increases that which is not his, going into you going over there and invading these other countries, stealing their resources and everything else like that, always in somebody else's backyard, i.e. look at the China and Taiwan situation, right? You go back in history, you realize that Taiwan is a part of China, but who the one that went over there and broke all those things up, man? All right, well, you can go back into history and you look at the North and the South Korea scenario. Who was the responsible for the creation of Korea? All right, America went over there and started waging war. You know what I'm saying with China. All right, and then you had an offshoot no more. So now you got Korea. Well, now we got a North and a South Korea. All right, you just creating different nations because you want to go over there and start moving the borders, man. All right, but hey, this is what America does, man. All right, creates turmoil in other places in other regions of the earth. All right, and it's not like you got China that's over here stirring up some shit with the let's just say with the Bahamas, with Cuba, or Russia back in the days, man. But you don't have these countries over here doing these things today nowadays, man. But vice versa, you have these things like America and Taiwan, America and Ukraine, which is Ukraine is on the Russian border, Taiwan is on the Chinese border, man. All right, so hey, you got America that's over here, involving themselves in other people matters, man. All right. So verse 7, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booty unto them? All right. So, hey, eventually these nations are going to rise up against you. It says, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood and for the violence of the land and of the city and all that dwell therein. All right. And so, hey, because of all the violence and the blood and the rape, robbery, and murder of these different nations, man, these nations are going to come up and wind up spoiling you, man. All right. Real quick, let's go over to Obadiah 1:7. All right. I'm going to read this in the NLT. It says, all of your allies will turn against you. All right. All of your allies. Right. It says all of the men of your confederacy. Right. All your allies. You're looking at, NATO members looking at America sideways. You even have American politicians looking at the American leadership sideways out here, man. All right. And we ain't talking about so-called Donald Trump and being racist in his tweets. No, we're talking about military actions that's being taken place across the globe right about now, man. All right. These are the issues that they're talking about, man. But these are also going to be the issues that's going to lead them out to the battle of World War III. All right. But then they're not going to go out there so strong with one another, man. All right. They're going to go out there on weakened relationships, which is going to lead to what? America being left out there alone, man. All right. It says all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There's no understanding in him. All right. Let me read that in NLT. It says, all of your allies will turn against you. They will help to chase you from the land. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. They're promising you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. Right now, this is what you have going on, man. You have right now American allies, that are saying, yeah, we're going to go along with the plan. We're going along with the plan. But as they're getting bankrupted by, these Russian sanctions, all right, the wintertime is here, really, and they're going through their economic wringing out, being sucked dry. All right. Hey, what do you think that they're thinking about, man? You think that they're pissed off at Russia for doing these things? Russia didn't put the sanctions on themselves to stop exporting oil into these nations. It was America that put these sanctions on Russia and told their own allies they couldn't partake with Russia no more, even though Russia was supplying them. Now, America's coming back to supply them, but guess what? The oil that they're getting is 4 times the price of the oil they was getting from Russia, man. All right, so, hey, this is a lose-lose for them. All right, so it says they will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. Your trusted friends will set traps for you and you won't even know about it. So, hey, ultimately, this is what's going to lead to your demise. And we'll close out right here in Revelation 17. What is it, verse 16? Yep. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So that's going to be the end goal with your allies, man. All right, they're going to lead you out to the battlefield saying that they got your back. But as we can read in Jeremiah, that all ye archers that bend the bow, all right, stand round about and shoot at her, roughly paraphrasing. So we know at the end all be all, man, all these nations with military or with missile capability, all right, at the end all be all, they're going to be aiming their missiles at America, man. All right, and at the end, you're going to see who was really with you and who really wasn't, man. Because America's going to be left out there alone, man. All right, and you can see the tipping point to which is going to cause all these relationships to fold. Right now, you're in that bitter, rocky breakup of certain things is going on. I always compare this to a relationship, man. All right, so-and-so's getting ignored. Now, let's say a man and a woman together. Now, homegirl now all of a sudden she's starting to get on her social media all the time, always trying to hide her phone and do this and do that. Now, the dude feeling some type of way. Now, he's staying out late, taking a long way home from work. He eating out, she eating out. You know what I'm saying? They going to different places, doing different things. It's like only a matter of time before they be like, you know what? Let's just keep it real with one another. This shit is over with. I'm moving out and keep it moving. But this is where we at right about now, man. But you're in that stage of that relationship where y'all both, you in the bedroom watching TV and she in the living room watching TV. Y'all don't really speak. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't one of y'all cooking a small enough dinner just for one person to eat. You know what I'm saying? The other person coming home with some food. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't even coming home. You staying out way late past the time the other person be went to sleep, so you can just creep in the middle of the night and go to bed and not have to be bothered hey, this is what's going on between America and their allies right about now, man. So we know that we're, rapidly approaching the very end, World War III. All the signs are pointing towards, World War III is right around the corner, man. All right, the wars and the rumors of wars that's been taking place, the relationships that are crumbling with these other nations. Because you got to think about it. We weren't going to get into World War III while America was still strong with their allies. All right, you have to have a how they say what do they call those things? Basically a chain of events. There's a better term for saying a chain of events that would happen that would turn them into this, into enemies, man. All right. But I'm gonna go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Rakakudash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, great millstone, and taught us this truth and rule well. And citation and much love for you, Aki, and pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.